Sir, your mother is alive. I saw her in the asylum. The words landed like a glass dropped onto marble, sharp, shattering, impossible. Armin Vale looked up from the wall of numbers glowing across his office windows. The city sprawled beneath the 62nd floor, obedient and glittering, like it knew who owned it. He had built half of it, hotels, hospitals, tech parks, charities with his name engraved in brushed steel. A billionaire by 38, a man the media called untouchable, and a man whose mother had been dead for 25 years. Say that again, he said calmly, too calmly. Lena Hart stood frozen near the door, fingers clenched around the tablet she had forgotten to hand him. She had worked as his executive assistant for 3 years and had never once crossed a professional boundary. Until now. I'm sorry, sir, she said, swallowing. I shouldn't have said anything. I thought I was mistaken. Armin rose slowly. He was tall, composed, devastatingly controlled. You don't mistake the dead for the living, he said. You said you saw her. Lena hesitated. Images flashed through her mind. The cracked walls, the smell of disinfectant and old sorrow, the woman's eyes. Eyes she had seen before in photographs framed in silver in Armin's private corridor. I volunteer at St. Ives Asylum on weekends, Lena said quietly. It's an old psychiatric facility on the outskirts of the city. Most patients don't have families anymore. She paused. Yesterday, there was a new intake. She goes by the name Patient 47. Armin's jaw tightened. And you think Patient 47 is my mother? I know she is. The room felt suddenly too small. Armin turned away, pressing his palms against the glass. His reflection stared back at him. Perfect suit, perfect posture, a boy who had learned early how to survive grief by burying it under ambition. My mother died in a fire, he said. I watched her coffin lowered into the ground. So did I, Lena replied. On video. That made him turn. What? I did some research last night, she said, voice trembling but determined. The fire at the Vale estate was real. But the body was never conclusively identified. Dental records were missing. The case was closed under pressure. Silence stretched between them, heavy and suffocating. Armin's father had been a powerful man. A ruthless one. He remembered the night of the fire, smoke, screams, being dragged away by security while his mother reached for him through flames. The official story said she never made it out. You're telling me, Armin said slowly, that my mother survived, was declared dead, and spent 25 years in an asylum. Lena met his gaze. She knew your name. His breath caught. She whispered it. Lena continued. Armin, over and over. And when I showed her a picture, one from the charity gala last year, she cried. She touched the screen like she was afraid you'd disappear. Something inside him cracked. Within an hour, Armin was in his car, the city blurring past as if time itself were trying to outrun him. St. Ives Asylum stood isolated beyond the hills, gray and forgotten. A place where society hid what it didn't want to face. They led him down a narrow corridor. She hasn't spoken much since she arrived, the doctor said carefully. Severe trauma, dissociative episodes, but when you requested the visit, he trailed off, confused. The door opened. The woman sat by the window, thin shoulders wrapped in a faded shawl. Her hair was streaked with silver, her face lined by years of fear and silence. But her eyes, Armin dropped to his knees. Mom, he whispered. She turned. For a moment, there was nothing. Then recognition flooded her face like dawn breaking after endless night. Armin, her voice was fragile, disbelieving. You're real. He crossed the room in 2 steps and took her hands. They were cold, scarred. They told me you died, she sobbed. They said you wouldn't survive without me. They said it was kinder this way. Who? Armin asked, though he already knew. Your father, she said. He said I knew too much. The truth unraveled slowly. She had discovered illegal dealings, blood money masked as philanthropy. When she threatened to expose him, the fire was arranged, not to kill her, but to erase her. She was declared unstable, committed under a false identity, silenced behind locked doors while the world mourned her. Armin sat with her until night fell, holding her hand like a lifeline. The next morning, the world woke to chaos. Vale Industries stock plummeted as sealed documents were released. Foundations collapsed. Arrests followed. The legacy Armin had inherited burned, not by fire, but by truth. At a press conference days later, Armin stood before hundreds of cameras. For years, he said, voice steady, I believed power was built on control. On silence. I was wrong. He glanced to the side of the stage. Lena stood there, quiet, resolute. My mother is alive, he continued. And because one woman chose courage over comfort, so is the truth. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the city, Armin wheeled his mother into the gardens of her new home, bright, open, free. She squeezed his hand. You came back for me. I always would have, he said softly. And for the first time since he was a child, Armin Vale felt truly rich, not because of what he owned, but because of who he had found.